Hey everyone, it's Jelly Beans. Thanks for being here with me on this nice sunny-ish day. I'm sitting in the middle of a little rock circle here out at the park, and I thought I'd communicate some things about the 12 tribes. So today we're going to talk about what I learned living in the 12 tribes for 8 years. So the first half of the things that I've learned were things that I've learned from being there, and the second half or so is what I've learned since being out. So I've been out for about 6 years, or maybe even 7 at this point. I don't really pay attention to the time too much. So yeah, there's been valuable lessons all throughout my life, and the 12 tribes being a big part of that journey for me, because I joined when I was about 21, 22, and then I stayed for 8 years. That makes about sense. Yeah, that's about, yeah. So for 8 years, since right after college, pretty much. So yeah, let me just tell you about what I learned. I wrote down some things that I think are important, and so let's just take a look around us here. This beautiful day here, and I'm grateful for this weather and this place that I found, and I thought it was appropriate destination for me to share some thoughts with y'all. So let's just dive in. If you feel free to check out my other videos. I've got other videos about the 12 tribes. I've got other videos about going one-wheeling. I've got some live music going on there. I've got some family time adventures. There's different things going on my channel, so I'd love for y'all check them out and see what we've been up to since leaving the 12 tribes community / cult. So let's dive in here. The first one is responsibility. I learned so much freaking responsibility there. It was just crazy. I mean, before, I remember just having a messy house, a messy room, but since I moved there was so much, it was very strict and scheduled, and I learned a lot of responsibility for myself and for others, especially after having kids. I mean, that was a huge thing. Number 2, having boundaries and being respectful to yourself and others. They have really clear boundaries there, and I would say they're healthy, because so many people come in from different backgrounds. It's hard. I mean, they have very strict boundaries, and so that can be a really beneficial thing for people to learn there. Also, number 3, to be under authority. I think my nature is just like out there and rebellious and just not wanting to listen to people, but in the 12 tribes there was a lot of authority and standards to keep up to, and so I learned how to kind of just be under authority ultimately. I mean, I learned that deeply. So that's one thing. Number 4, I also learned how to speak from my heart in a public setting, which was really cool. Like, we'd have gatherings twice a day and such like that, and we were encouraged to share if we had something on our heart to share. And so for me, I was able to learn to speak my thoughts and heart in front of people, which I think is maybe that helped me do this, you know what I mean? Not being afraid of who I am or what I have to share, or how it's going to be judged, which it could have been judged there, but anyways. Number 5, I learned how to manage a cafe or a restaurant. I learned all the in and outs of the mate factor. Man, I worked there for a long time, many hours, for not like a year or so, but I was the backbone of that place for a little while there. Just what to order, what to make, how to make it function smoothly, how to work with other people. There's a lot of things I learned in that cafe. Yeah, man, it was fun. It was fun working in a cafe, serving people food and drinks and such. So I learned how to be responsible even in that way, just to manage this whole area, and yeah, how to make it better. Number 6, I believe, is how to keep. After I had kids, I was home, like straight up all the time. So I learned, hi Squirrely, hi. Hi, I don't have any croutons for you, but I can give you some in a minute. Hi. I learned how to manage a household. I I learned really high standards about how to keep things clean, how to keep things tidy, how to keep things organized. So that was really valuable, like maintaining laundry, maintaining all these different things, like just to learn how to run a household was really valuable to me too, is what I learned there. And then I don't even know what number we're on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 7. How to think about other people. It was very encouraged. I mean, it was pretty important in the realm of normal to not think about yourself or your own needs. So we always had our eyes out on other people and to provide. We were always there to provide for other people. So just how to think about others and how to consider what they would need or want to make their lives better. So that was a really positive aspect from what I learned living in the 12 tribes. Just to have those outward eyes. So that can switch back, and now we're going to go into the second half, which is what I learned after I left the 12 tribes, which is how to think about myself. Like, I'm important, and I know what I need, to be a flourishing human being. It took me a really long time to be able to even accept that I need to take care of myself, and I'm still learning different things to be able to help recognize what I need and what I would want from the time, and be able to like respond to that and be accepting of that for me. But yeah, shoot, man, you gotta take care of yourself. You can't take care of others if you're not taking care of yourself, especially when it comes to kids and such things. So that's a huge lesson that I've learned, that I am important and I need to take care of my own self. Like, I know what I need, and I have the power and ability and responsibility and the opportunity to take care of myself, and that's an important thing, to flourish and be a complete human being in my perspective. So also a huge one that I've learned since I've left is to value my own sovereignty and my own choices and my own perspective. In the tribes, I mean, you really just submitted everything that you thought and felt to a higher authority, and they basically told you how to think about it, and you just had to believe that they hear from God, and that's what it is. But I am learning so much to value my own experiences, my own sovereignty, my own choices, my own everything, really. I think that's a really valuable thing. I think everybody has their own journey in life, and we're so accountable to being able to pay attention to that. So that was one thing. Just to be, and another thing is to be in touch with my own self. Like, I was so focused on others there. I was not focused. I didn't have any focus on myself. It was like against what we were doing there. So for me, like, just being in touch with myself and knowing what my instincts are telling me, and like even with raising children, that was a huge part of my life for the last 5 years of my living there. And I feel like I really wasn't in touch with who I was as a mother and what my like innate sense of who I am would be able to raise children. I kind of just wasn't able to be in touch with that. So for me, knowing who I am and realizing what I can pass on, and seeing my flaws and seeing my positive qualities, like, those things are really important, and I am glad to be able to touch into those and respond to them, especially when it comes to raising my own kids. So that's another thing. Another thing that I've learned since I've left is to be more careful with my choices, not act on like just those like raw, quick emotions that can come, that can look so right and so good, but really just kind of sit back and just understand what's going on before making a choice. So that's a personal thing for me. Like, sometimes I feel so emotionally to do something, but I'm learning to just take a step back and just recognize it for what it is, and then consciously make a choice to step back and then reevaluate, and at a different time when I'm not so emotionally charged. So for me, that's been a really valuable lesson. And even like who I trust and what I trust, and even the fact of trusting my own self, like ultimately if I don't trust myself and my decisions and my choices, And that takes time, it takes time and learning and experiences, but I have to trust myself before I can give my trust to others. And I really just am learning so much about what that looks like, and how to recognize those things as well. So trust is a huge thing too. One other thing I learned is, I kind of already covered that one. So I guess the last thing I learned is that, manipulation, control, propaganda, all that is. And the last thing that I wanted to mention was I'm glad. One thing I really learned from being in the 12 tribes is just being able to see reality in a clearer way. I feel like I'm able to discern a lot more manipulation and control and persuasion tactics than I wasn't able to before as much. And I feel like I'm really learning how to trust my own self and my own judgment, and see clearer for what things really are, and versus how they're presented. So I see a lot of things in propaganda and pharmaceuticals and advertisements and the media and social media and all those things that I feel like I'm really able to see through in a clearer way. So those are all the things that I learned that are important from being the 12 tribes. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned some things too. Feel free to drop me a comment below. Give me a like if you do. If you don't, that's okay. Subscribe to my channel, and we'll catch you next time. All right, folks, take care. Adios.